All right. It is 1 o'clock here, and thank you for joining this webinar on measurements in StreamBIM. We will probably have several webinars this spring on StreamBIM Basics, and this one is the first on that program. And I will start now, and I will share my screen and show you how you can do measurements in StreamBIM. Let's see. All right. So you can now see we are in a StreamBIM model here, apartment building, and I'll have saved some custom views to take to the places where I'll show you some measurements, and I will show you also the custom views, how you can set that up. Let's see here, just 2 seconds. So I will go to this apartment I have saved and move into this apartment here with custom views. And one of the things with StreamBIM is when you want to do measurements, you have the measuring tool on the bottom left side here. And when you click on it, you will get two alternatives, either measure plane or quick measure. And we will start with the quick measure. And clicking on the quick measure button, we have several choices down here. And I have the one single point measure, I have the 2-point measure, the multiple point measure, and the elevation tags. So we'll start with the single point measure. So if I want to measure something in StreamBIM, let's say I want to measure from this outlet down to the outlet below, I can simply just click in between these two outlets. And when I do that, I get the distance on the y-axis, on the x-axis, and also on a normal curve. And you can see that next to the measurements, you also have an X. And if I want to remove one of these measurements, I can easily just remove them in case I just want to have this one measurement here from the bottom of one outlet to the next. All right, but let's say I want to measure from the bottom of this outlet down to the slab or the floor. I can easily go in and I can hide this outlet. Then I can go back, and when I click on my current measurement, I get two arrows, and I can shoot this measurement down to the slab below. And now I have a measurement here. If I want to add one, I can do the same. If I want to measure from the side of the door to this outlet, I get this same X, Y, and the normal curve, and I can take out this and that, and now I have a measurement from the slab to the bottom of the outlet, from the side of the outlet to the door. And if I want to save this measurement, which is something that you often would like to do, save it and share it, I can go on these binoculars down on the bottom right and hit custom views. And I'm going to add a custom view, and I call it measurement outlet. And when I create a custom view, I can choose to share it with groups, or I can just save it for myself, and then I just leave it like this with none. And then I'll turn on the different things I want to save here. So I want the view mode, the camera position. I don't need the IFC search, the color coding, etc. But I want to turn off the measurements down here. I believe I need to also the hidden objects, because I saved, or I removed the outlet at the bottom. So let's see. now I have tried to save this measurement outlet as a custom view and click OK. And let's see if that works. If I go back to the start position and I go here, I have my measurement outlet and turn it on, and you can see the measurement I just created and saved. On the measurement tool, you can also see that we have a wash bucket, which is basically clear. So if I click that, I will clear my current measurement. The next I'm going to show you is also with the single point measurement. But to get to the objects I want to save, I go to the Hidden Objects tab, and I will remove some of this ceiling and these walls because I want to measure in a ventilation channel or a ventilation pipe. So whenever you do a measurement on a circular object, you can just click on the canal, and you will see here that you will get center point of the pipe or canal I clicked, and it takes to the next center point. You get the X and the Y. You also get the diameter of the pipe and the diameter of the next pipe that you have measured to, and also the insulation on the pipe. So quick measure is quite easy to use on circular objects. It takes center points to and an X and a Y and show you the diameter. Yes, let's see. I'm going to do one more quick measure. If I do a simple quick measure on the floor here, it should, if I see here on the bottom right, you can see that you also get the measurement on the 2D drawing on the right hand side. Just so you are aware of that. And I will remove this like that. I will use the wash bucket. The next is, if I go back here, I'll reset my hidden objects. And I'll go down, let's see, like this. The next one is the 2-point measure. And the 2-point is, as the name applies, you can measure from one to another point by clicking on the edge of objects. So this is another way to do it. When you use the 2-point measure, you can see you have two more icons here. This is the snap toggle, and this is like the 90-degree toggle. And I will demonstrate that shortly. But with the 2-point measure, you can also take a corner, and you can also measure the diagonals like that if you are in need of that. And I'll do the wash. So if I want to measure across from this wall to the other wall, I have the snap and I have the 90-degree toggle on. Click on the wall, and when I go across, it will snap 90 degrees to the wall on the opposite side. You can see the measurement here. Let me move a little bit back. If I turn off this, I can also do this, but then I can put the endpoint measurement here, and you can see on the bottom right that you're not 90 degrees to that measure point. Also, if I turn off the snap, you can do a measurement just like that without snapping to anything. And you can get a diagonal too without snapping to something. All right, I'll do the wash back and X out on my measurement, and I will go to another custom view. And I'll turn this off, and I'll go to a drain pipe. So here is a drainage pipe that I have found in the building. A little bit too quick there. And if I want to measure a pipe with a 2-point measure, I can turn on the the snap and the 90. And when I do this on a pipe that has a fall, we get the length of the pipe. You get the diameter and also the fall. In this case, it's a fall of 1 centimeter per 80 centimeter. So this you can do by clicking as I do here. And let's say if you wanted to save this or you wanted to send it to someone, you don't need to just, you don't have to use the custom views. You can also use the capture module here. So here's the capture module, and I have a workflow for measurements. And so if I stand in that measurement workflow, I can add a capture point here, and I can say here measurement on drainage pipe. I can send it to either a group or I can send it to a specific person. You can also go in here and you can highlight the things and make drawings on this if you want. That's more for a different webinar. But anyways, when I post this topic, you can see it's added to the measurement workflow. And if I X out and I close it and I go back to my home position, I can go back to this measurement and I can click on it, and it should take me straight to where I was, the same view, and the measurements are here. And you can also see we have saved the measurements as a screenshot. Yes. So that is the 2-point measurements. And I go back to my home position, which is outside, and you can also use the measurement tool outside of the building. And I can see we have some trees in the middle here, so I use the hide object feature to get rid of these, because I want to show you how you can measure with the multiple measurement tool. And that is the next one to the right of the 2-point measure. So if you want to measure a set distance, or for example, outside a walkway, how long is this roundabout here, you can easily just click your way around and you will get a measurement on the model here. And this is of course the total 45 meters. Each point has an elevation tag, and you can do this also inside the building, but also outside to measure total distances. I'll wipe that out. The last one is the elevation tags that you can set out, and it's used a lot in infra projects, roads, bridges, etc. So if I click here, I get the height of the point at -4250, and this is measured according to the 0 point on the model. And so you can add all these height or elevation tags, or spot elevation as it's also called. You can also use it on buildings. If you want to click here, you get the height on the windowsill. Do my wash bucket, and I'll X out of my measurement tool, and I'll go back into the custom views, because I have saved another custom views view here. So I'm back in an apartment, and let's see. If I do like this, I will now show you. Let's see, that pops out a little bit too quick. I'll show you now the quick measure, and now the next is the measure plane. So if I click on the measure plane, I will get a orange square, which basically tells me where I will put my section, because we're doing a sectioning of the building. So I'll do it. That was not a good one, so I will X that out. Let's see if I do this here. That's a better one. So you can see now that I basically made the 3D model into a 2D drawing. And if I use my orange, this orange field on the left to use my mouse to drag back, I can section inside of the model. And let's see if I can do a center point from pipe to pipe with the multiple measurement tool. When I marked these 3 pipes, so you can mark as many pipes, or you can do to a wall, you can put your mouse pointer downwards and you can save it like this. And now you can see that you have the diameter of each of the pipes and you have the distance between them. You can also see it down here on the 2D drawing. Let's see, you can also, on this measure plane, you can also do the quick single point measure by just clicking between 2 walls. You can get the distance and you can X out. You can click on one of the arrows and shoot it further if you want to, if you didn't match on the first one. And you can also do diagonals and 2-point measurements here. And also these measurements you can add to a workflow and save it or send it, section measurement. Just give it a title, send it, in this case to myself, and I post it. And when I posted it like this, again, I go back to my home position. When I click on it, it should take me straight back to where I was. So it's very easy to communicate measurements with StreamBIM, share it with whoever needs to view it. All right, I'll X out of this and I will do a quick stop sharing because I'm going to switch. I'm going to switch the project. I'm going to share another one. Let's see this. All right, so now I'm in another building, and the reason I wanted to show you this is, let's see, I have a custom view here. It's because in this project, there's 2 things that I didn't have in the other project. One is I didn't have grids and I didn't have point clouds in this other project. So if I want, I can do a measure plane on this roof. And you can see when I do a measure plane here, you can see the grids coming out. And another thing I think I didn't mention on the last measure plane is you will have a box here where you can actually set the view according to like 90 degrees to yourself. So now we see the building straight from above by clicking on this. And let's see if I move here. You can see the grid lines here. If I zoom a little bit closer, I can do a, let's see if I can measure from the side of this wall to the grid. You can measure from this to the grid as well. If I do a further into the further zoom in, you can see that the point clouds are coming forward here, and you can even measure from the point clouds to the IFC wall, like this. You will also see it here on the bottom right, where you have the 2D view of this. Yes. Let's see. And even though if it's in point clouds and grid, you can also share it or create custom views, just like I have showed you before. I will do a wash bucket and X out this. And that is basically the information about the measure tool. On the bottom left, quick measure and the measure plane. And on the quick measure, we have these 4 different measurement tools combined with the snap toggle and the 90-degree toggle icon. And you will have the same on these 3 on the measure plane as well. So that is the quick rundown on measurement. So if there's anyone who has any questions, or please feel free to use the webinar chat. And while you are thinking about that, I would like to mention that we will have a StreamBIM day in Stockholm, the 22nd of May. And I will put the link to it if you want to attend. It will focus on StreamBIM from pre-design to design, into production, and into operations and management. Yes, so that is basically the webinar. If there are any questions, we'll take them now. All right. All right, we will have saved this. We will have recorded this webinar, and we'll probably post it either on LinkedIn or on our YouTube channel if you need to view it again. All right, I will end since there's no questions. So thanks for joining, and goodbye.